So I'll leave this open because I'll need it again soon. But for now, I'll get back to JSBin. So I'll change this to a better code style as well. And now let's have a look at something else. We have var1, which is 5. What happens if I also create var1, set this equal to 10, whoops, add a 1, but notice that I have a capital V at the beginning. If I now copy this line here and also print var1, what do you think I'll see in the console if I hit run? Well, we get 5 and 10 because these two variables are two different variables. So JavaScript is case sensitive. We have two different variables even though it's the same name, but the capital V does matter and actually creates a new variable. Therefore, two different values are printed to the console here. Now what happens if I have var1 here? I'll get rid of the second variable here and I'll also won't print out it anymore. But now after printing it out, I'm setting var1 equal to 10 and then I print it out again. What do you think I'll now see in the console? 5 and 10, because now here I'm reassigning the variable. Notice that I don't have the var keyword here and I don't need it because I'm not creating a new variable. Var is only needed when creating a new variable, so for declaring a variable, but instead I'm using an existing one and I'm reassigning it here. Therefore I'm changing the value. And that is how you can do this. And this, of course, is also something you'll probably do in your code, that your variables might not keep their initial value, but instead might receive new values throughout your code. What do you think will happen if I turn this 10 here into a string by adding quotation marks? What do you think we'll now see in the console? Well, we see 5 and then a string of 10. So even though the variable was a number at the beginning, we can change it to a string. And indeed we can see this type switch if we print the types instead of the values. So if I now hit run, you see that we get number and string. So the type of the variable was actually changed because JavaScript uses dynamic typing, which means variables may change their types. That is something most languages or many languages don't offer. There you would create a variable of type integer and then you would only be allowed to assign integers or strings or whatever the type is of the variable to that variable. In JavaScript, it doesn't care. Therefore, you're not telling it which type this variable should be, you just set it to an initial value and then it has the type of this value, but it has no problems of switching the type later on. This might be useful in some situations, but generally it's also a good practice to not do this, to not switch types constantly, but instead stick to the initial type.